Tell you all about that shortly. But first, families dealing with the devastating loss of a parent from cancer will need specialist help. From today, alongside counsellors and doctors, one famous sporting hero wants to offer his support. The former England cricket captain, Sir Andrew Strauss, and his two children lost wife and mum to lung cancer in 2018. To mark Child Grief Awareness Week, he's launching the Ruth Strauss Foundation to help other families, and I'm pleased to tell you that Andrew Strauss is joining us now. Hello to you. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's always good to see you. Tell me about the work of the charity and how it's going to help.
Yeah, thanks, Kay. Well, absolutely. As you've just said there, Ruth unfortunately died of a rare form of non-smoking lung cancer in December 2018. And we set up the Ruth Strauss Foundation last year with two aims, really. Number one, to fund awareness and research into these non-smoking lung cancers. But secondly, to help families who go through the awful journey of preparing to lose a parent from cancer. And so this is what we're talking about today. You know, the reality is that unfortunately, about 14,000 parents a year have that awful diagnosis. And we don't like talking about death. And certainly when you are going through a cancer journey, the last thing you want to be thinking about all the time is death. You want to be thinking about living and what you can do to deal with your cancer in as better way as possible. But the reality is that if you are able to have those conversations about death, either as a couple and especially with children, then you're better able to prepare yourself and your kids for what is to come. So, you know, as tough as it is, we need to really enable people to have those conversations. And often that takes some sort of professional help for you to be able to do that properly.
Yeah, it must be so hard for children, as you know firsthand. I chatted to A.A. Gill before he died. He died very quickly, as you know, but he died of cancer. And he said he saw it almost as a blessing because at least it gave him the time to spend with his family before he died, rather than being in a car accident or whatever. I suppose that's one way of looking at it, but it's still incredibly difficult for a child to see their parent go from full of life to perishing in front of them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, one thing that Ruth was determined to do is she always said, look, I want to prepare for death so that I can actually enjoy the rest of the time that I have on this earth. And I think if she felt that she wasn't prepared for it, then she always had that hanging over her. And she was obviously, I mean, we're all, as parents, we want to protect our kids from pain and suffering. And so the instinct is, look, we just don't want them, we don't want to go there with them. And what we know for a fact is, you know, if you're able to be honest with them and able to involve them in the conversation and kind of get them semi-prepared for what's to come, then they're going to find it a little bit easier on the other side when they're dealing with the grief, you know, the horrible grief of losing a parent. So no one is saying this is easy. This is really tough stuff. But one thing we can't do is just sort of stick our heads in the sand and pretend it's not happening. That's not helpful for the sufferer themselves. It's not helpful for their partner, and it's certainly not helpful for their children.
Just looking at the boys there ringing that bell with you. I'm guessing that was at Lord's, was it? I'm not sure. The images, I don't know if you saw them as we were chatting.
It was.
Smiles on their little faces again. Yeah. What was that about?
So that was the Red for Ruth Day, our inaugural Red for Ruth Day, which is where the whole cricketing community came together to support the foundation, really. And we've been incredibly blown away by the support we've received. You know, I think this has struck a real chord with people, you know, this idea of preparing families, you know, talking about death, preparing them for this horrible eventuality. And, you know, we've made a start. The really exciting thing for us is we're launching this training program now, this pilot training program to train healthcare professionals to offer this support for families. You know, they're uncomfortable doing it currently because they're not well trained to do it. And so hopefully our long-term ambition is to make sure that there's support available for any family that is dealing with this horrible situation. And we're well on our way to achieving that.
Do you have any advice at all for other mums and dads who find themselves in a similar position to you?
Well, I think firstly, you know, definitely don't be shy to seek professional help because, you know, this is not something that's easy to do on your own. But the truth is you've got to be as honest as you can with your kids. You've got to get them, first of all, you can't hide this away from them. You certainly can't hide the disease away from them. They will sense that there's things going on. And so, to make sure they're involved in the conversation, and you do it in as careful a way as possible, so that when the time comes, they're as ready as they can be. I mean, no one's ever ready for it, but as I said, professional help definitely helps you to do it in the right possible way.
Okay, it's good to talk to you. How are the boys doing?
They're doing okay. It's nearly 2 years on now. Of course, they have bad days, and it's really important that we keep remembering Ruth and finding
about his opposition to it.
But they're doing well, and they're enjoying life and enjoying school, and I'm very, very proud of them. They've been fantastic.
I'm sure you are. Christmas is always a hard time, though, isn't it? Even if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it is. And, Ruth died on the 29th of December. So around that time, it's going to bring back all sorts of memories for the kids. Hopefully we get an opportunity to be surrounded by family. I think that would be important. But it's also remembering time, and I think that's important. Those times where you feel emotional and a bit sad, those are times you also have the opportunity to remember, or for us to remember Ruth and all her amazing qualities, and for the boys to remain sort of keyed in and proud themselves of everything their mum did in her life, and especially when she was preparing for her own death as well.
Okay, so Andrew, always great to talk to you. Good luck over the next coming weeks, and all our love to the boys as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kay.
Thanks a lot.